Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. That's right, the video game show that is not hosted by an annoying clickbaiter. We only talk about video games, the business of video games, and cover topics that mainstream YouTubers don't cover. Now, with that said, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and now let's get ready for the show. On today's episode... Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. It's been 11 months since the OOF video. Now, I wanted to wait to make this video because, you know, if I would have made it at the moment, I would have gotten attacked with pitchforks and stuff like that. Now with the passage of time, with the passage of, everything that's happened, we could be a little bit more objective, and it's a little bit easier for people to listen to this stuff. Because when you talk about something like this, where somebody's been publicly shamed to the tune of 8.6 million views and still going, and probably get to 10 million, it's hard to bring a counter argument of any kind or give a different point of view, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and defend Tallarico for the MTV Cribs or for the Guinness stuff. That's not what this video is for, and it's not even to defend Tallarico. But it's to let you know how this has affected Tallarico to this point, or how it did affect him, right? The fact is that if you're diversified, it's the best protector against you falling to chaos in life. Chaos will come in your life. And economic chaos is what we're talking about here. And if you have all your eggs in one basket, you're screwed, right? But if you're diversified, you don't have to depend on any one thing for your business to survive. Now, I think it's fair to say that, Tallarico went all in on the INTELLIVISION amigo when it came to his public persona. But that's not true for his business. Tallarico is famous for being bad with money, but other people's money, not his own. When it comes to being a musician and keeping his money, he's one of the few in that realm that actually keeps his money. Think about it this way, right? In your own personal experience, are the musicians great with money? Not when I was young, man. When I was young, when I was in my 20s and all that, and all the musicians I knew were about booze and booger sugar, man. And we had a great time, but, keeping $50 in our wallet was a challenge. and musicians are famous for not being good with money. That's why they signed all these bad contracts. That's what, they get into all this stuff. But that wasn't the case with Tallarico. With his own personal money, he's been rather conservative. Right? And he's diversified, and let me tell you the ways he's diversified in, and that's why he's been able to weather this storm. Why didn't this affect his personal wealth as much as, for example, say a divorce or getting sued for furniture? And it's the following things, and let me break it down for you. Right? Number one, you have Video Games Live. Video Games Live at its peak, I think when we did the math back in the day, was somewhere around the $800,000 area as far as income for him. Famously in one concert, he got $100,000 that he was trying to pass through the airport, right? That was, for being in Brazil, $100,000, that wasn't too bad, right? So at its peak, he can make about $100,000, making about 50 shows, whatever it is. But let's just put it this way. If Tommy Tallarico did $300,000 in 1 year, that would be a down year for him. Means in 4 years, he's got about $1.2 million, right? So that's a money maker for him. And why is that a money maker? For a couple of reasons. Right now, it's active income, but this could turn into passive income. Let's analyze it here. And don't worry, I'm going to get to better stuff. I know this sounds kind of boring, but I want to explain to you why the OOF video really doesn't mean shit as far as his own personal wealth. It's because he's actively doing this, but since he's half owner, they can just hire somebody else to do it in perpetuity and follow the same formula. A lot of the money for these shows are already baked into the cake. What do I mean? Well, if you get an orchestra, right, to play there, a local orchestra to pay for nothing because you're just having the kids do a show, quote unquote, and all they're getting is to do a show. Their parents are going to show up. It's a family-friendly atmosphere. What does that mean? It's great for advertisers, right? It's great for co-promotion with several companies because they're not afraid to approach something like this. It's great for corporations that want to give away tickets to events other than sports, right? Because the struggle companies have when they're giving out tickets is some people don't like sports. They want something else. Well, this is great because, you know, it's better than giving them away to buying tickets for a comedy show, for example, where somebody can be offended and it's not family friendly. You're looking to give your employees something that everybody can go, they can take their families to. This would be one of those events, especially in cities that don't have, you know, a lot going on. This would be a highlight, right? So a lot of it is already baked into the cake as far as making money. And how do you know this? Well, the amounts of money that are raised by this thing, right? Most people are not on YouTube. Most people don't know anything about the OOF video, and they just don't care. Joe Public doesn't care. They just hear, oh, this guy is making music for video games. Okay, maybe I'm going to hear some Pac-Man. They don't know what's going on. You know, grandparents are buying tickets. I'm going to take my kids to video games. The kids are like, what is this, Roblox? What am I going to listen to? Oh, yeah, it's a guy that made Roblox. They don't have a clue, right? So that's active income that can turn into passive income once he decides not to perform. You hire other artists and they go on the road and you get a percentage of that. Great. That's one. Number two, you have the music publishing, right? And this is very important, right? And I'm going to break down to you how the narrative of just him taking advantage of people, and I'm not saying it didn't happen, right? But I'm just going to give you a counter argument of what does happen, right, in reality. We don't know what they said in the background, but this is actually something that happens. And I'm going to give you an example, a real world example where you can see how this can work. Let's say you have a guy that he's really great. He's a really great subcontractor and he does great kitchen work, for example. But the one thing he doesn't have a contractor's license. What does he do? Well, he has to go reach out to somebody that does have the license and say, look, I have this project to do. I don't have a business. I don't have insurance. I don't want to do it under the table because this company or these people are requiring me to have insurance. So can I use your license? I'll give you a fee and we'll do this project together, right? So if you are the person with the insurance and all that stuff, you have to weigh, well, how much is it going to cost me to fund the project and yada, yada, yada. You roll the numbers and they say you do a 30-70 split. I'll give you 30% commission on this job if you do it. Great, let's go. Now that musician, or in this case, that carpenter, whatever tradesman would be, now has work because he was able to team up with somebody that was already established, okay? Because you just can't go doing contract work without a contractor's license. In most states, it's illegal. Well, in industry, something similar happens. When you want to do business for a company, they'll have certain requirements. For example, they want you to have a track record. Let's say you're a very talented musician, but you've never done music on your own. You've always worked for somebody else and you want to establish your own company. Well, they're going to say, well, I need at least 3 projects. I need to check your references, right? Number one. But here's the biggest one. I need you to have insurance to whatever limit they set, right? So let's say you just establish a business here locally, right, in your neighborhood. You're going to need about, I don't know, $1 to $2 million in insurance, the same as your car. It might be a little more depending on what kind of business you have, but that's something that you need there. You would need even more for bigger corporations. So a big corporation, let's say like Nintendo, they might say, we need you, right, depending on the size of the game, we need you to carry at least $20 million insurance. And at us as an additional insuree. Wow, that's quite a tall order. And insurance companies are not going to just insure anyone. Just because you give them the money doesn't mean they're going to insure you. They want to see your track record, this and that and the other. And it may take time. And you might not have the money to do it. My voice is failing here, guys. This is why of the AI voice that I use for some informational videos. So let me take a sip of coffee here. And I wanted to wait to save my voice for this video. So a company like Nintendo, a company like, Sega, a company, major corporations might say, these are our requirements. And even though you're very talented, Mr. Musician, unless you have these requirements, our insurance will not let us do business with somebody that's not established and doesn't have these requirements. So what do you do as a musician? You go to somebody out there that is established, you bring them the deal, and you try to cut the best deal possible with whoever's out there, right? You want to see who charges the lowest prices. So if you're a musician out there that is not established, somebody like Tallarico, whether it's him or another company, would be the way you would go, much like a subcontractor that doesn't have a contractor's license. Now you get to split the profits with them. They'll issue the certificates that they'll insure you. Now, I know where you're thinking, well, who the hell's going to do business with Tommy now? Well, it's very simple. You make another company. And all your established insurance, you can just issue another certificate for them and whoever you're going to do business with, right? You're going to ask, well, why the hell would a video game company, a video game developer ask for insurance? Very simple. People do stupid shit all the time, right? People put Easter eggs all the time. Easter eggs that are not family friendly, for example. That's why you have recalls of media where somebody put in something that wasn't supposed to be there, right? And that has a cost. Let's say somebody makes a song for whatever video game, and in there they put a subliminal message in the background that you can only filter out, but it's there. Or, they put something in there backwards that when you play it backwards, it says something that's not family friendly. That's gonna take money to fix. That's why you need insurance, right? Maybe you said a word that sounds like another word, and now you have to redo it. I mean, there's all kinds of things that can go wrong, guys, and have in the past. And they all involve money. And if you're Nintendo and if you're Sega, you don't want to take those hits. That's why they ask for additional insurance and for them to be insured also. It's just a fact of life, right? I know it's not the argument people want to hear, like, no, this son of a bitch stole everything. It could be somebody came to him. We don't know in every single circumstance. But it's not like there's a lot of these guys out there, right? There's not a lot of independent contractor musicians with a shitload of insurance that have, business established for decades. There's not a lot of those. And where you're a purchasing agent looking out for bids, for example, you're looking at just paper, right? And you say, I need 3 bids, and you have 3 competing bids, and one company's been in business for 30 years. Who the hell are you going to take? Are you going to take the guy that just established last week because you told him he might have an opportunity? Or are you going to take the company that has, all these games under their belt and is giving you a competitive price? It could be as simple as that. And nobody factors that in. Why do you put your name on it? Well, shit, I'm the one funding it. Right? I'm the one funding it. And if Tommy Tallarico Studios' name is on the game, that means another project, right? And people are asking, well, why does he count, all these games separate? Because in business, they're all separate. They're all separate. You need a separate fee for every single game, right? You need a separate insurance certificate for every single game. And it's mostly that, even if the songs are the same, right? So you're thinking as a consumer, you're thinking, well, fuck, it's the same song. What the fuck did he do? He didn't do anything different. No, he didn't do anything different, right? But the bean counters at the insurance companies, for them, they want to charge for every single game. So it becomes a chargeable event every single time. So from a business point of view, they are different games because they have different insurance certificates. It's just fucking as simple as that. So if somebody wants to go, oh, he's fucking lying, to you, not to insurance company, right? And I'm not defending Tallarico, right? I wouldn't say it myself. I wouldn't say I worked on 4 different games when it's really one game and they used it on 4 different platforms. But technically,
he's not lying, right? Is it misleading to say to quadruple your numbers in insurance? Yeah. I mean, it is to say, right? But from a business perspective, it's not, right? And if you're funding something, I mean, if it was you, if you pay 90% of the fees, right? If somebody brings you a project and you have to spend 90% of the money to get the work done, are you going to want 90% of the credit? It's simple as that, right? Yeah, he did all the creative work, but shit, I had to buy this fucking $50,000 certificate. He didn't do shit for that, right? So as the business owner, right? How many of you would spend that kind of money and give credit to somebody else? Not many. If you're honest with yourself, not many, because your business has to survive and your business needs that title in order to get more business. That's what businesses do all the time, right? And it's your right as a musician to say no, and you have to say no. But if you spend all your money and you don't have any fucking money, and this is the only way you can work, well, that's what happens. Am I saying is it fair? No, but that's the way it sometimes happens, and that's not accounted for in the video. If somebody's coming to me and they're asking for my help, and I have to front the project, and I have to spend 90% of the money, and then you want me to take my name out of it? Oh, fuck you. That's what most of you out there would say, right? So that's from a business perspective. But what does that do, right? Again, those are royalties that can come in pennies, whatever it is, but it's forever, right? As long as your IP still holds, and as long as they're reselling the game, republishing it, you're going to get a little chunk of change, whether it's $5, $10, but that accumulates over time, right? And that's just a little bit of the business side of it, that people don't talk about. And, unless you're interested in the story, nobody gives a shit. And, that's why it doesn't matter to this guy, right? We're talking about his home, right? His home in a very nice neighborhood is appreciating. The asset of INTELLIVISION, the 23%, as long as they keep on making games, whether they get a nickel or they get $100,000, he's still getting a chunk of that, right? As long as he owns that, right? Again, a divorce or getting sued for any personal guarantees would affect them more than the video, because the video is affecting them in future earnings that may not ever happen at this age anyway, right? Because once you get into your 50s, it's not like you're going to be in the cover of many magazines, many video game magazines, right? He's not at the avant-garde of the latest technology. So all his stuff is retro, right? But he already did his work. So a lot of his income is already pre-established. So is it going to help him grow another step? No, right? It does affect him in the future as far as earnings for the future in social media. But again, you could just create another company and put them under your umbrellas, and that's it. The name Tallarico doesn't even appear, right? So, a lot of people want to say this is going to ruin him forever. This is no. I mean, if there's any shame here, guys, if there's any shame, is that this guy still has all this money, right? And a lot of people that backed him publicly on the internet are not doing as great as he is. And, the people that backed him publicly, whether it's the YouTube channels he destroyed or anything else, they never really got any compensation, but, they still back him. So what do, right? If you hit somebody with a stick and you still love it, hey, have at it, man. I'll go get a bigger stick. But yeah, guys, in all fairness here, it doesn't affect him for shit. Publicly, in YouTube and social media, yeah. But at the end of the day, his net worth is going to go only up. I'm surprised that if he didn't take at least $1 million out of the Amico, I would be surprised if he didn't. just the appreciation on the business over time, over those IPs, even though they're really low right now, over time in the future, they're going to be worth something. Somebody's going to want to buy them. And that was always the case with this company. That was always the case with this endeavor. They wanted to take the name Intellivision, create a console and flip it. Now they want to take the software and flip it. There's so many other ways they could be making money, and they're not. But we'll talk about that on the next episode. All right, guys, I just want to let you know what was going on with that. Nice 20-minute conversation here. Hope I covered all the points. But yeah, you know, I think this video is going to hit 10 million views, and it's still not going to make any difference to his bottom line. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Did you subscribe? Did you hit the like button? What the hell are you waiting for?